All right, guys. So today we're going to be talking about how to be a man. And one of you guys sent me this video from Arion, and I thought it would be a great way to talk about that topic while reacting to my boy over here. Let's see what he has to say first.
I'm Dr. Orion Taraban, and this is Psych Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is how to be a man. It's a simple question, and one that 100 years ago would be ludicrous to ask, because back then, everyone just sort of knew what the answer was. But here we are in modern times, characterized, among other things, by an identity crisis in men. How we got here is extremely complex, but here is where we are. Now, some forms of masculinity, such as machismo masculinity, are fairly complex. This is because they are performances of an unwritten etiquette with evolving rules and standards. However, this form of masculinity, as much as femininity, is essentially performative. Neither is a natural suite of behaviors, and each is an expression of a particular time and place. These forms of masculinity and femininity can be learned, and skillful execution of their respective suites of behaviors both express and confirm status in men and women. Many of the answers you'll hear on the internet to the question of how to be a man correspond with performative masculinity. They are things that you can do to signify your man status with props, costumes, and postures. These could be things like grow a beard, lift heavy stuff, start a business, go fishing, go hunting, learn to start a fire.
You know, the problem with that is that it never really, because what guys have to understand is that you are a man. And the way to be masculine is to learn how to be at ease with yourself. When you're comfortable with yourself, your masculinity will radiate from you. But what does that mean? It means learning how to generate positive emotions from your pure existence. Learning how to be happy without needing somebody's validation. Naturally, when you do that, you're going to express your masculinity in its purest form without performing. It's the difference between somebody acting cool and interesting and somebody who's naturally at it and doesn't put any effort. It's more impactful. And a lot of guys, when you're not raised with a father, one of the things about not having a father is the lack of discipline, the lack of being able to control your emotions. Meaning you lack self-esteem. A father gives you self-esteem. It teaches you how to go from unhappiness to peace. They also teach you discipline, how to control your body. That creates an ease, a relaxation in your mind that over time expresses itself as masculinity. And you're not going to have to act masculine, because when you have to act masculine, there's a lot of thought involved. And when there's a lot of thought involved, it creates incongruency. And you know who notices those things the most? Women, right? By the way, people, and this is what I tell you guys have to practice things. As you guys know, I'm an artist and I create my own art and create my own clothes, people. If you guys want to purchase and check out my store, like you guys can check out my store where I put my artwork in t-shirts. I put my artwork and bags and hats and sweaters. So go check out my art store by clicking on the description down below. And look at this. These are pretty cool designs, man. We got the Mona Lisa. You got me over here. We have Frida Kahlo. Look, this is a cool hat. The Mona Lisa. Go check it out. And I think there's a coupon code, I believe, right? Yeah, 25% off. You can check that out and all that kind of stuff. And also check out our forbidden video that I deleted from YouTube. It was so forbidden that I had to delete it. It's about 20 dark tactics to make a woman love you. You can get access to it by clicking on the description down below where it says get your free gift. Put your email there and I'll send it to you, okay? All right, let's continue with the video.
Learn to drive a manual transmission. Learn to seduce women. Learn to fight. Learn to shoot a gun. Learn to grill a ribeye steak. Talk knowledgeably about sports. Drink beer and appreciate whiskey, etc. Now, I don't have a problem with any of those things. A lot of them sound fun and could prove beneficial to the individual in question. However, I do think that all of those responses suffer from defining masculinity essentially as a suite of behaviors, as a performance. Now, I have a different take on this question. As you can see, I'm not a guy who's very performatively masculine. I work with words in a very feminized profession. I've never played football or scaled a fish or roped a calf. However, when it comes down to it, I'm extremely masculine. And this is because what it means to be a man is very simple and only marginally associated with what you do or what you look like. Are you ready? To be a man is very simple. You need only two things. You need a spine and you need some balls. That's it. If you have a spine and you have some balls, then you're a man.
Now look, this is kind of true. Me, I started doing art when I was 28. And I said to myself, I don't want to do that because I'm going to be old. I'm scared. I don't know what it is to get good. But you know what that took? It took balls and cojones to do that. I started doing game, and that took cojones. I opened an art group where a lot of people go to my art group, and that takes spine because some people may not go, and you might feel weird. But you know what happens? Having the balls and the temerity and just taking the risk. When a woman sees me with those activities, she says, oh, he's masculine. Oh, he's confident. And this doesn't manifest itself with you with just doing art. It could be anything. But the point is, strive for greatness. Do what you are afraid of. Learn to develop self-discipline. Even if you're ugly as fuck, you're going to be an ugly masculine motherfucker. It's plain and simple. And women will forgive your ugliness if you know how to be at ease with yourself and you go after what you want.
And just so we're clear, I'm not talking literally. All humans have a spine and all males have balls. What I'm talking about is a spine and a pair figuratively. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. Let's talk about each one individually, shall we? First, what does it mean to have a spine? A spine means that you are willing to stand up. Anatomically, you need a spine to stand erect. Figuratively, you need a spine to stand up for what you believe to be true, which is, in your heart of hearts, who you are. And this, of course, presupposes that you actually know what you believe to be true, and this ain't easy. Most of the things in your head were put there by other people, and a lot of that stuff is total garbage. For most people, it takes years and years of patient self-study to learn what they believe to be true. So young guys get a pass here, though it's important to acknowledge that we tend to make their jobs harder by filling them up with so much distracting nonsense to begin with. However, there are many older guys, men who I speak with on a regular basis, who don't know what their values are, don't know what they believe to be true, and consequently don't know who the fuck they are. And how are you going to stand up for something if you don't know what that something is? Now, before I go any further, if you're liking what you're hearing, then please consider sending this episode to someone who might benefit from its message, because it's word-of-mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow. And if you're liking what you're hearing, you can hit the super thanks button. It's those three little dots in the lower right-hand corner, and tip me in proportion to the value you believe you've received from this episode. I really appreciate your support. Now, having a spine also lets you know where you stand in relation to the universe. This is because as soon as you stand up, you cast a shadow, which situates you in a specific place between the heavens, literally the sun, and the earth, your immediate surroundings. Unless you are completely in line with the light, there is no way to avoid casting a shadow on this plane. Among other things, this means that as soon as you stand up, that is, as soon as you make it known who you are and what you believe in, you will attract an antithetical element in opposition to that, the shadow. People will disagree with you. People will disapprove of you. Some people will despise you. And the taller you stand, the more some people will threaten, attack, and seek to destroy you. This is part of the risk of standing up and having a spine. And this, of course, is why we rightly respect people who stand up for what is right, despite the personal risk of doing so. What's strange is that the alternative to doing this, that is, remaining spineless, isn't all that great either. You go through life never really knowing who you are and what you believe in. Now, it often happens that some people do know who they are and do know what they believe in. However, they're never able to find their place in the world because they weren't willing to stand up from their hiding places and say, "This is me." This is because doing so requires the second ingredient, a pair of balls. Having a pair means that you're willing to suffer the risk associated with being somebody, a specific individual with values and beliefs. It means putting your money where your mouth is. It means not giving a shit whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Not giving a shit whether you approve or disapprove of me. Not giving a shit if you love or hate me. It means, if necessary, putting your money, your relationships, your career, your status, your reputation, and even your life on the line in the service of what you believe to be true. If you have a spine with no balls, you spend your life hiding. Hiding from your friends, hiding from your women, and ultimately, hiding from yourself.
But that's a lot of guys. That's the issue. A lot of guys just they're not even in the world anymore. They're at home in their computers watching porn, wasting their time. And I'm gonna tell you something. I really do believe it's because you have given up, you have no belief in yourself, and you don't have determination. You don't have that hunger. To be a man is to be hungry for something. But also, not just hungry, but also to develop true self-esteem, meaning to know your worth despite the results. Because if you don't have true self-esteem, when success happens, you're going to turn maniacal and you're going to turn tyrannical and complete asshole to people because you're insecure and you want to prove to them you're powerful and you want to prove to them you're better than them. Masculinity doesn't need to put other people down. You only need to believe in yourself and shine and let others see that. Some of the most feminine guys are really the ones that as soon as they get power, they turn tyrannical. They get petty. They want to see you down. But let's not even focus on that. I believe the seed of masculinity is setting a goal and focusing on that goal until you achieve it. Without caring what people think about you.
Well, you technically can't do anything to earn respect in the sense that you cannot make someone respect you, especially if, for whatever reason, they have a mind not to. You can significantly increase the probability that you will garner respect from other men and from women in general by having a spine and growing a pair. We respect those who are willing to hold the line and stand up for what they believe in, regardless of the consequences. Paradoxically, we like those who don't seem to care whether we like them or not. On the other hand, we typically have neither respect nor appreciation.
Now, let me say this. Do you know why we find people who don't care what other people think attractive? Let's think about that. Why don't you care? Well, because I don't generate positive or negative emotions from your reaction. The source of my esteem of myself comes from the knowledge of who I am. And that knowledge of who I am is observed through the sensations of the body. You get to know yourself by observing the reality that's always in front of you. And from that reality, you're able to see who you truly are, which is consciousness itself. You're able to understand the nature of reality by observing the physical sensation, especially the sensations that are subtle. And you go subtler and subtler and subtler until you're able to reach the subatomic level where things are vibrating at a high level. And from that reality, you're able to liberate yourself from your mind-made prison. That's a guy called Cuenca. He teaches Vipassana meditation, right? I'm doing an accent, but I swear to God, the Buddha, I tell people that the Buddha The Buddha is a perfect example of masculinity, because what people don't understand about the Buddha had hoes. The Buddha was getting bitches left and right. He just didn't fuck them. Hare Krishna, like the most desirable men in history were not rappers. The most desirable men were the ones that devoted themselves to something and didn't let women distract them. Jesus Christ himself had hoes everywhere that wanted to fuck him. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, people think I'm joking when I say that.
For those who do things so that we might like them. Let's recap. If you know who you are, what you believe to be true, and if you're willing to stand up and risk it all in the service of those beliefs.
Isn't that what Jesus did? Isn't that what the Buddha did? Isn't that what Hare Krishna did? Isn't that what Martin Luther King did, who had holes in every area code? Standing up for something that you believe in and being willing to die for it. The Plato did that shit too.
In the service of your mission, then congratulations, my friend. You are a man. You do not need to grow a beard. You do not need to hunt or care about football or drink everyone under the table or plow through half the women in town.
Hey, not a bad
You need
idea.
a spine and some balls. If you have all the other things, but you don't have a spine and some balls, then you're not a man, in my opinion. And if you have none of those other things, but you do have a spine and some balls, then you're a full-fledged man. Hopefully, that clears some things up.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I'm Dr. Orion.
Shut up, Iron. I agree with that. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think of this video. Check out our free ebook. And by the way, also, you guys can check out my course, Dark Game. Let me see, get it right here. It's a course that I created to help you guys develop true self-esteem, how to attract women through social circles. I also teach you guys how to do day game, how to attract women at your job without going to prison. So go check that out on the description down below.